Blog Talk Radio.
Warning.
Okay, I'm reloaded. Yeah. Say
2015,
and the
man.
homie Cell Block.
What up?
Hey, yo, Sal, showtime, man.
What up, Sal?
Time to go back in, right?
Big talk for you.
Season 5 reloaded.
Let's
Come on.
get it.
Helping our people come up out of the system. Understanding, let you stand as a winner, not as a victim. You got those who rejected the truth, Father, forgive them. But if you want it, you know the place for knowledge and wisdom is.
Where's that, baby?
Debate talk for you. Season 5 reloaded. Call in and give us your view. Yeah, it's debate talk for you. It's debate talk for you.
Back at it like we never left. Gotta say, I see the devil left. Another level, yes. Feel like a rotated metal F. Cause my bars declare war with the treble clef. Helping our people come up out of they slumber. Awaken them from the dead. They like zombies walking among us. And also removing that when it comes, making them dumber. And prayerfully this will let the light shine through like it's summer. I'm making spread the gospel and also acts of apostles. And seemingly makes me mean a demeanor coming up hostile. I growl at them. Competitors go with credit. Verbal beheaded. Speaking Semitic. Apologetic. Let us reason. Should we believe in the mighty Yah? Was garden to be the literal or merely a mirage? Join the forum. Come with your doctrine and let's expose them. Debate talk for you. Season 5. We reloaded.
Helping our people come up out of the system. Understanding, let you stand as a winner, not as a victim. You got those who rejected the truth, Father, forgive them. But if you want it, you know the place for knowledge and wisdom is. Debate talk for you. Season 5 reloaded. Call in and give us your view. Yeah, it's debate talk for you. It's debate talk for you. Backing down is not an option. We're here to conquer this false doctrine. You confident in hopping the lions, and we all watching. The enemy's plotting, Pete the wicked schemes he's concocting. The Lord is warning us, better open up when he's knocking. We gotta fight this war with the art of intelligence. Heaven sent messages to us, they asking where's the evidence. Trying to use science to claim he don't exist is prevalent. Challenge what they can't prove and they act like it's irrelevant. We don't take heed to cunningly devise fables. You wanna discuss it, come and sit at the round table. Biblical scholarship, history, politics, and archaeology. We teach like professors at colleges. The word is of no private interpretation. Every man will try to make his point with great determination. Our job is to plant and water, then wait for germination. My only purpose is to worship God and serve the nation. Helping our people come up out of the system. Understanding, let you stand as a winner, not as a victim. You got those who rejected the truth, Father, forgive them. But if you want it, you know the place for knowledge and wisdom is. Debate talk for you. Season 5 reloaded. Call in and give us your view. Yeah, it's debate talk for you. It's debate talk for you. Helping our people come up out of the system. Understanding, let you stand as a winner, not as a victim. You got those who rejected the truth, Father, forgive them. But if you want it, you know the place for knowledge and wisdom is. Debate talk for you. Season 5 reloaded. Call in and give us your view. Yeah, it's debate talk for you. It's debate talk for you.
Welcome to the planet of debates. Debate Talking Radio.
Peace and shalom. This is Imuna Yisrael from the Sunshine State, and I am tuned into Debate Talk for You, the place where you can get intellectual exchange with no profanity. I love it. One.
Yo, Shalom, Call Halal Yahweh by Hashem Yahweh Shai. It's Brother Chief Priest Alazar Gun Lawyer, a.k.a. the Gorilla Hebrew, representing Exodus 17:15, a.k.a. the sect of the Sakari. And you know where I'm at. Every Friday, the Lion's Den with Sal Showtime on Debate Talk for You. You can catch me on there often, ripping somebody's head off, tearing down some false doctrine. Big shout out to all the Debate Talk for You family and listeners and supporters out there. You know, keep supporting the movement. And, you know, beautiful edification is getting put out to the masses right now. So again, shalom and call halal Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai.
Greatness attracts greatness. Talk with the Titans host here, Callum L. And you're now locked into Debate Talk for You Radio.
Hi, this is Tyrone Thompson, host of the Blog Talk Radio broadcast Talk Real Solutions. Please tune in and listen to all of our shows 7 nights a week at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. At Talk Real Solutions, we cover a variety of topics to ensure we speak about what may be needed in our community at any time. Talk Real Solutions is the hottest blog talk radio show going on right now. You can listen to our broadcast at www.blogtalkradio.com/talkrealsolutions or visit our website at www.talkrealsolutions.com. Also like our Facebook page at www.facebook.com/talkrealsolutions. You can call in at any time during the show and add to the conversation and offer your solutions at 1-858-357-8453. That's 1-858-357-8453. Because at Talk Real Solutions, we want to make sure you have a chance to talk real solutions.
Holy greetings to you all. This is Minister DeAndre from Heirs of the Promise Ministries. It's been a while since the Debate Talk for You audience has heard from me. That's because on this year, April 8th, 2015, I was diagnosed with acute lymphoblastic leukemia, also called ALL. And also, I found out I had a chromosome called the Philadelphia chromosome, which meant I would have to have a stem cell bone marrow transplant. Well, through the Be the Match registry, worldwide registry, the doctors did find me a 100% unrelated donor, and I had that stem cell bone marrow transplant on July 18th of this year. And I'm proud to say, through the grace and mercy and healing power of the Most High, I am cancer-free. Hallelujah. Now I need you guys, the Debate Talk for You audience, to go to my GoFundMe account, gofundme.com/QZ4SEBVC. That's gofundme.com/QZ4SEBVC and give a donation, and I would appreciate it, your love and support. I'm looking forward to coming minister to you guys in the near future. Peace and blessings to you all.
Peace and blessings, family. This is your good, humble brother, Basim, representing the DMV area. And when I'm not holding down my mid-level position in corporate America, I'm tuned into the most respected debate show on the globe. That's Debate Talk for You with the esteemed host, Sal Showtime.
You don't want to miss the best debate show via internet? Debate Talk for You Radio. Check out the schedule from Monday to Friday at 7 p.m. Eastern Time or at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. To check out the archives, go to www.blogtalkradio.com/Debate Talk 4 and the letter U. You can listen via phone or via Skype by dialing that number 646-716-7320. Again, that's 646-716-7320. You can also go to iTunes to the podcast section. Just type in the search box Debate Talk 4 and letter U, and you'll see the show pop up absolutely free. You can check out season 1 all the way up to the present season and enjoy the entire show. So keep it locked on Debate Talk for You Radio. Check us out. That dial. You're now listening to Debate Talk Free Radio.
This is Renald Francoeur representing from Atlanta, Georgia. And when I'm not busy in the studio, I'm checking out Debate Talk for You Radio. Keep up the great work, Sal Showtime.
What's going on, everybody? How you guys doing? Welcome to another show. You're now listening to Season 6 of Debate Talk Free Radio. Of course, we're back with another great show for you guys. Of course, we appreciate everybody that's calling in via phone and via Skype. That number is 646-716-7320. I see we have a lot of callers via Skype out there. What's going on, people? Of course, shout out to the people that's overseas checking out the show. We actually have people that's waking up very early in the morning checking out Debate Talk Free Radio, taking out some notes, and some people in the UK out there very late at night checking out Debate Talk for You. So we appreciate all the overseas listeners checking out the show, and of course everybody on social media, on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and checking out the show live. Well, today is the hot seat segment of Debate Talk Free Radio. Of course, my special guest is Nasi Yashuvel, and everybody know the hot seat, the listening audience out there. This is your show. You can call in from beginning to the end for 60 minutes with your questions and your comments. And again, it's all about the listening audience out there getting answers to your questions. So if you're out there checking out the show, you know that number, 646-716-7320, the press number 1, and we can add you to the conversation. So, again, we're going to go to the people out there real soon to get some of your questions and comments. The only rule that I have is there's no foul language. Got to keep it clean, keep it professional. Of course, there are people out there listening with their kids and even the elderly. So, got to keep it clean and keep it professional once you call in. But let's go to it. Let's introduce my special guest. Everybody know, without further ado, there's no introduction for the brother. We all know who he is. This is Nasi Yashuvel. Welcome to the show. Appreciate you being here. Can you hear me? Just open up the phone line. Let me see if this is it right here. Can you hear me? Nasi, can you hear me?
I got you. I can hear you. Can you hear me?
All right, loud and clear, loud and clear. I appreciate you, man. Welcome to the show.
Man, it's a blessing being on your show. I appreciate you for inviting me, brother.
All right, anything you want to tell the people before we begin? Any upcoming events? Any things that you want to notify the people before we begin? Any any books, anything that's coming out? Let us know.
All right, definitely. First and foremost, giving all praise to the supreme intellect of the universe, Yah, our forefathers, Yah, Abraham, Yitzchak, Yah, called the infinite one that lives outside the realms of time and space. Hallelujah. I like to ask brothers and sisters to support some of the hard work our brothers are putting out there. I know my brother, Moriah Shai, has a book out, and he's going to be on the show to express it to you. I also have Ancient Science of Love that deals with relationships. I have Parashat Noah. Parashat Noah is about the metaphysics of the human body, and it's telling you how to meditate using the scriptures and the portion of Noah inside of the scriptures. And then I have the Queen Sacrifice. That's about the mind of a woman, a Hebrew woman, understanding the biblical woman. And it goes into a lot of metaphysics. It goes into a lot of brain science and stuff like that. So please check all them out on Amazon.com. I got a few events coming out real soon, so just check my Facebook page to keep up lifted. Also, I want to give a shout out to Rabbi Moshe Yehuda, the brother who wrote the West African Jews of the Diaspora prayer book. This is the first African American prayer book written by us from the ancient ancestors passed down onto us. So if you're looking for a prayer ritual for your Sabbath day or your daily activities, definitely go get that. It's called Siddur Hakmat Yisrael, and it's by Rabbi Yehuda. So check that out and go get that. And shout out to Financial ID with my brother Javaris Banks. If you're looking to get your credit clean, you're looking to learn how to clean up credit, you're looking to learn how to invest and become a businessman, check out Financial ID with Javaris Banks. And that's basically it for right now.
All All right, people, so we're going to jump right into it. I see we got people pressing number 1 again. If you have any questions or comments, you know that number, 646-716-7320. As a matter of fact, if you want to send me an email, you know, and I can read your questions out to my special guest, the email is debatetalkforyou@gmail.com, or you can utilize the chat room. If you want to get access to the chat room, go to www.blogtalkradio.com/debatetalkforyou. Click on the show, the hot seat. And when you scroll down at the bottom, you're going to see like a little box there where you can type in your question, and I can read them out live to my special guest. But let's go to the phone lines. Again, it's going to be only 60 minutes, people. 60 minutes of your questions and your comments. Let's go to the phone lines. Let's go to 908-266. You're live and air.
Yes, shalom. You hear me?
Loud and clear.
Yeah, this is Yeshaya.
Shalom, Moray.
Hey, shalom.
Okay. Sorry, he coming in for the later right after I'm done with the question.
Oh, okay. I got you.
You didn't recognize my number, brother. That's what happened. It's a new number.
Yeah, you got the new number there. I see that. I got you. All right, cool,
yeah,
man.
But the 908-266, that's me, brother.
Okay. Well, I got you on the line. Anything you want to talk to the people real quick about? Anything you want to comment on real quick?
Giving honor and praise unto Yah, creating the maker of heaven and earth. Just giving due benevolence on a human level to my teachers, some of them who have passed, may they rest in peace. Started off at Kosherit under Mordeh Yosef and the Don Yishai. Got my confidence to speak as far as this way of life in Hashaba under my teachers, Kohen Lewi, may he rest in peace, and Kohen Mikael. And just also want to give a shout out on a human level to Percy Poor for even allowing me to even facilitate the Hebrew classes that's done in Shema on a weekly basis. So as far as, you know, that goes in that particular case. We already spoke before about the book that came out, so that's that. But in a nutshell, just want to sit there and state in concluding this particular part is that even if you disagree with what other Israelites may teach or so forth and so on, disrespect and disagree is two different things. You understand? I disagree with certain things that my biological mommy had set in order. You understand what I'm saying? But the law of honor thy father and thy mother still holds weight over the fact of one disagreement. So that's where it boils down to at. It comes to the point where if you may disagree about something, you have to, not trying to sound quote-unquote Christianish, but you have to know how to be non-violently disagreeable. And some people, unfortunately, don't know how to deal with that maturely. So whatever point invalid that you may have actually goes to the water because, well, you don't even know how to be civil in your disagreement, if we want to use those terminologies. So those who know what it is know what it is at the end of the day as far as that's concerned. And I concede the mic back over to the brother Sal. But yeah, when you see the 908, that New Jersey Union County number, that's me. Shalom.
I'm about to lock that number in, bro. I got you now.
Okay,
well, I appreciate it. What I'm going to do, I'm going to leave you on the phone line, though. Of course, you can mute yourself and things of that nature. But again, we're going to go to the phone lines. Again, if you have any
I'll mute
questions.
myself.
All right.
I'll mute myself. No problem. All right, but I hear you.
Okay. All right, no problem. Once again, that number is 646-716-7320. Actually, I have a question right here. Where is this? I think it's a Google Hangout question, actually. It says, does the community really want unity? Does the community really want unity? Go ahead.
Okay, definitely. That's a good question. That's a question that I have myself. If you know, I came in here after my debate with SETI. Well, before that, prior to that, I united a camp called House of Israel with Shema Yisrael. So I was all about pushing congregational unity and national unity and social unity amongst the blacks, you know. So when after I debated SETI, I came in there to unify the people, and I called all walks of our lives. I called the Messianic brothers and non-Messianics, brothers that believed in different Sabbaths, Moors, Muslim brothers, even Kemetic brothers. So I definitely called for unity. And I think it's overlooked at all times because when you come into this debate league or debate show, a lot of people don't have pure intentions. Their intentions is basically to become this debate star instead of being someone who can give back into the community and help uplift the community. And that's some of the things that we have to really look forward to. Like even when I did the second debate, it was under the auspice that we would form a united unilateral government, and that never took place. So I was always for unity. I don't think the community want unity because a lot of egos bump people out of positions or fighting over positions of leadership. So a lot of these Hebrew groups or Moorish groups and Kemetic groups don't come together because we all worried about who's going to be the leader instead of putting in that work to uplift our nation.
All right, let's go to the phone line. Let's go to 404-788. You're live on the air.
Hey, Shalom, my word is Swords. How you doing, brother? Good to hear y'all.
How you feeling, King?
I'm good, brother. Yeah, I watch you, man. I'm really proud of you, brother. You represent, and you were strong, man, on that debate with Teddy. I just wanted to see what's your take on I don't know, you believe in the Savior, or what's your take on the Savior?
Well, to believe in the Savior, I think we all believe in the time of salvation and the individual that the Most High is going to anoint to come and save us. But I'm not a follower of the New Testament. My stance on Yahushua or Yahushua or Yehoshua is that he is a war general, and my stance is based off of the book. Most of my information, well, not most of my information, but the foundation of my information, the core of it, comes from Professor Winder's Judea Trembles Under Rome. So if you want to know more about that, Judea Trembles Under Rome is a good book.
Okay.
But if your question was based off the Savior, or was your question, do I believe in the Savior?
Yeah, do you believe in the Savior?
No, I do not. I believe that a Savior will be coming. I definitely believe a Savior will be coming. But as far as Yeshua being this Messiah or Savior, I do not agree with that.
Well, why not? I'm just curious. Like what's your stand? Like, it's something you saw in the New Testament that you just don't see it. Like what's your take on that? I'm just curious.
All right. Let me start out and be honest. But first and foremost, I can't act like that this was something that I chose. This way of life was placed upon me by my parents, and my parents were Old Testament Hebrews. So we didn't even know of New Testament Hebrews. We came under a man called Nasi Yashuvel and also Cohen Lewy, and we strictly taught Old Testament. We did go to school when I was in Wingate. In high school, I used to challenge the New Testament brothers. We used to go back and forth all the time. And, it almost got into almost fist fights at times. So, as I grew older, I knew that maybe we overlooking the unity aspect to fight over doctrine issues, and I think that's a great error. But my belief on him being the Messiah is many other reasons that I don't agree, because most prophecies that people will take you to inside of the Old Testament to say that he's there's not fulfillment of one complete prophecy. So there's always like one part missing that he didn't do. And I ask a person a question, why didn't he do this? And they will say something along the lines, well, he's coming back to fulfill it. And my stance is, if the man didn't fulfill the whole prophecy, we cannot call him the Mashiach or the Messiah that the Tanakh talks about. And also there's a lot of contradictions, a lot of confusion with Paul writings that bothers me. People say, well, Paul is he's very clever with his words, and he's deep, and he's too deep for people to understand. Well, if that person was going to be a part of the Bible that caused so much confusion, I think that if there was a divine author, maybe he should have removed that aspect. There's a lot of conflicting scriptures inside the Old and the New that I love my New Testament brothers, but there's a lot of questions I have about it.
Gotcha. All right, bro. It was good. I live in Atlanta too, man. Hopefully one day, man, I'll run into you, man. We can chop it up. So good talking to you, bro.
Hopefully I get your number. Sal can mark your number, something down for me, and I'll call you probably tomorrow, my brother.
All right, bro. Appreciate it, bro.
Thank you.
All right.
Yeah, I got you. That's a water swordsman right there. We appreciate you calling in. Again, you know that number, 646-716-7320. This is the hot seat segment of Debate Talk for you. It's all about you getting answers to your questions. Again, only rule that I have. You know the rules by now. Keep it clean, keep it professional. Let's go to the phone line. Let's go to 832-610. You live on the air.
Hey, what's up, brother? My name's Shark Spear. The question I have is, do you find anywhere in the Torah where the destruction of Jerusalem was prophesied?
Oh, yeah. We can look all throughout the scriptures. I mean, we can go into Zechariah speaks of the destruction of Jerusalem. We look most of all the prophecies speak about the destruction of Jerusalem. So especially in that and that's another good book to check out that shows the destruction of Jerusalem in the beginning of the wars. We will see it in another book from Professor Windsor called When is the Next Nostradamus, When is the Next War? And it gives you like almost 30 biblical precepts that you can see the destruction of the world and the destruction of Jerusalem.
Right. Now, in all those prophecies in the Torah, isn't the destruction of Jerusalem connect the Messiah, like in Zechariah, when it's describing the destruction of Jerusalem, it connects the feet of the Messiah being on Mount Zion. Is that right or wrong? Maybe I'm interpreting it wrong.
You're saying when Jerusalem was destroyed, the Messiah would be on Mount Zion? What verse are you at so I can go along with you, brother?
I don't have my Bible right now, but I think it's Zechariah 14.
All right. Let's go to Zechariah 14.
Probably 4, 5, 6 or something. And, just the whole chapter.
All right.
And also, Jesus Christ in the New Testament, he talked about the destruction of Jerusalem too. And he told the high priest, you shall see me come on the clouds. So one thing we know is that the clouds came over Jerusalem in 70 A.D. Now, who was it? Because if we believe in the Torah, we got to understand what the destruction of Jerusalem was.
All right. So are you saying, all right, go ahead. So now you're saying Zechariah speaks of a Messiah?
Doesn't it say that his feet shall stand on Mount Zion?
It says, then shall the Lord go forth and fight against the nations, as when he fought in the day of battle. And his feet shall stand in the day upon the Mount Olives, which is before Jerusalem in the east, and the olives shall cleave in the midst thereof.
Right.
All right? So where's this parable where Yeshua fought?
Well, I mean, I can answer that, but I mean, is that verse right there actually talking about the destruction of Jerusalem in 70 A.D.?
Well, to my understanding, Cain is definitely talking about, and Jerusalem fell twice. So see, with things with prophecy, listen, hold on a second. Listen, with prophecies, they recycle themselves. They go in cycles. So Jerusalem fell twice, right? So this is what I'm saying to you. Your question is, you're trying to allude that this verse is dealing with Christ, and I'm asking you, okay, well, if the evidence is based upon what you're saying and what you're trying to interpret this verse to be, I ask you that if you're serious about engaging in the discussion, let's see if Christ fought or Yahweh Shah or Yeshua fought, if this is the precept you're trying to link him up with. That's all I'm saying, because this is what I run into a lot. A lot of times I run into brothers, they show me a verse, and the verse sounds good for most part, but then there's two other parts of the verse that never even happened.
Right. I agree with you, and yes, I believe that Jesus fought in that day when all of those situations that was going on in Jerusalem from 66 A.D. to 70 A.D. I think all of the civil wars that was caused in the Roman Empire, the earthquakes that was reported, the supernatural signs that was over Jerusalem that's recorded in them times, I believe that all that was fulfilled, like it's written.
So, but you use some supernatural stuff that said it happened around the times. Okay, but the question is about this fight, right? And this is what we gotta do when we look at these scriptures. Also, this verse say, and it shall be in the day that living water shall go out from Jerusalem, half towards the former sea, and half of them towards the hinder sea in the summer, and the winter it shall be. And the Lord shall be king over all the earth. And in that day, the one Lord and his name is one, right? So now you're using that prophecy where it's talking about not coupling his name, and that his name is going to be the Lord, the one Lord, and also that pure waters were going to come from Jerusalem, rerouting themselves. Now, this never happened. This pure water never came from Jerusalem. Now, also, the Lord is the ruler of all the universe, but is this the Lord that we're talking about when he's describing one Lord? Or are we talking the Trinity and the Father and Son, where it's talking about duplicity, or 2 in 1, or possibly 3 in 1? So there's a lot of problems inside this prophecy that we can't solve. We cannot solve with the New Testament.
All right, we have a lot of people standing by. Once again, it's the hot seat segment of Debate Talk Radio. Again, this is the show for you, the people out there that have any questions or comments. A lot of our people, we see, a lot of videos on YouTube or with our special guests, and this is your chance after to speak directly to the special guest. So, take advantage. It's only 60 minutes. There's only 60 minutes for you to ask your questions, your comments. Again, the number is 646-716-7320. Let's go to the phone lines. Let's go to 321-444. You're live in air. 321-444. Can you hear me? 321. Going once. 321-444. Going twice. All right. I think we're going to move on to the next person. I'm going to try to come back to that guy. Let's go to 718-954. You're live in the air.
Hey, Shalom. How you doing? This is Brother Zion Lex.
I'm pretty good. How you doing, Zion?
I'm doing well, man. I just wanted to say shalom to my brother Nasi Yashuvel. I caught this about 20 minutes. Shalom, I'm doing great. I caught this about 20 minutes into it. It sounds great. I'm glad the brother's able to speak on some things that he's not always reluctant to give an opinion on. And I would also like to share a brief experience as well. Nasi Yashuvel mentioned Judea Trembles Under Rome as being the defining work that kind of changed his view of Yeshua. And I definitely and certainly can say the same thing. I was raised in Nasi Yashuvel's father's temple. This is where I basically learned of myself, and we were taught that Yeshua basically never even existed. So for me, my journey from then till now has been immense because I actually do acknowledge Yeshua to be historical. I owe a great deal of that to studying Rudolph Windsor's book, which, by the way, Yashuvel, Crown Prince of Rishadai, is the one that gave me the copy of the book. He gave me a copy of Judea Trembles Under Rome, and I read it, and I was moved because this was my very first time looking at Yeshua from a historical point of view. But to agree with Brother Nasi, for the sake of being extremely honest, I will say this. Anyone who truly studies the New Testament meticulously cannot deny the revolutionary spirit of Yeshua. I think to deny that is to do a disservice to the community, and it's also dishonest. It's undeniable that he was an extreme revolutionary. But what we must be aware of is that he was one of many revolutionaries in his era. And like those who are revolutionaries of his era, a lot of them were thought to be the messiahs. We had about 10 or 12, over a dozen revolutionaries that were thought to be the Messiah during the same time period of Yeshua, and none of them actually fulfilled it. When we go into the New Testament text itself, it says emphatically that Peter, the foremost apostle, disagreed with Yeshua over whether or not the Messiah was supposed to suffer. Let's not forget this. Let's not forget that the foremost disciple disagreed with Yeshua on the understanding that the Messiah should suffer. Remember, this was a defining point in the text, where the text is letting you know that Yeshua was basically the only one who interpreted this scripture this way. But when we have this dialogue with our Messianic brothers, a lot of them become offended, number one, because you're disagreeing with them, which I think is another disservice. I think that we have to raise the intellectual bar where we could sit down as brothers and agree to disagree or respectfully trade our views. The moment you become offended simply because someone has a different viewpoint, to me, suggests that you're not ready to be in that circle. And that's just me. But again, the point that I wanted to leave off and make somewhat of an impression with saying is that no one in the era of Yeshua believed that the Messiah was to suffer. And the only text that was around is the Old Testament, or i.e. the Torah. Based on the Torah, no one interpreted Isaiah 53 as the Messiah was supposed to suffer. But today, when we sit down with our Messianic brothers and we also agree with the Israelites of that era in not interpreting it that way, they speak to us or look at us as if we're crazy, not realizing that their own text exemplifies that no one understood it that way. Yeshua was alone in seeing it in that light. And I'll leave on that great show, and I'm going to continue listening. Thank you for allowing me to have a voice.
Hallelujah.
I appreciate that call, my brother. Once again, this is your time, people. Again, you know that number, 646-716-7320. Press number 1 and we can add you into the conversation. I see we got an email question over here. It says, what is the purpose of the 4 horsemen? What is the purpose of the 4 horsemen? That's the question. Go ahead, Nasi.
All right, good question. The purpose of the 4 horsemen was really to not change a position of stance, but bring in a new group of Israelites. First of all, when we hit the scene, we came in, me, AOC, Shema Yisrael, all of these groups. We came in, bursting on the scene. We brought you likes of brothers like J.C. Hughes, Panahisi. We had Zion Lex. We had Mori Yeshaya. We had all of these brothers bursting on the scene with information and dropping knowledge like people never heard before. So now my introduction to the 4 horsemen were 2 brothers that are close to me, but they cover different angles. The 4 horsemen is actually more than 4 members. But at a time, we choose to use different brothers to come on show, like to defend each other on the word and basically create a intellectual military. And so one of the members of the 4 horsemen is Talmid, one of the mores at the congregation that teaches where we at. And he's a very powerful brother, intellectual brother. You heard him on Talk with the Titans. Another one is Mori Yeshaya. Now, what people don't understand is me and Mori Yeshaya used to battle Egyptologists like 9 years ago. So in this battling Egyptologists, we became well equipped. We became well up with the verses. We started studying Kemet. We had a little head start. So when we started building up this momentum, I went into other avenues, and Mori Yeshaya continued on to carrying that torch in that avenue, in that area. So these brothers like that, and the brother Sar Yanel, one of the military generals of the congregation of Shomer HaTorah. So it's different members of the Hebrew war machine. And Sar Yaneh is a metaphysical brother. He's the brother you see on YouTube that's out there surviving in the wilderness and bringing brothers out there to live out in the wilderness. We're talking about some real practical stuff for liberation for our people. So we didn't want to bring no people in here just dropping information and wasn't about the nation and wasn't about building the nation. We want everybody's intention so when you join on that you about building and unifying Israel. So all of these brothers that I came in now is like a breath of fresh air to tackle on the new enemies that we're seeing, especially to combat the beef with the conscious community.
Actually, there's a follow-up question to that. What are the procedures if I wanted to become a member of the Hebrew War Machine or the 4 Horsemen? What should I do and how can I contact you? All right. That's the question.
All right, definitely. Hit me up at HebrewMore@gmail.com. What was the first part of that question?
Yeah, what do I do if I want to become a member of the Hebrew War Machine or the 4 Horsemen? How do I contact you?
Yeah, definitely. Hit me up at HebrewMore, HebrewMoor @gmail.com. Hebrew More. Well, and basically, the 4 Horsemen is part of the Hebrew War Machine. The Hebrew War Machine has many individuals inside of it. We have many organizations, so it's universal. You see us with GOCC, AOC, Lions of Israel, Shema Yisrael, even some aspects when we join with MSTA 19 and 13. So the Hebrew War Machine has a whole arsenal full of people. You have military ground people, you have intellectuals, and the Four Horsemen was the intellectual brothers that just came to defend me on that day. And there's many brothers, so we switch out every now and then for the show. Is whatever four brothers we can get on the show.
I'll be having some more people standing by with their questions and their comments. Again, let me check the time period. It's 24 minutes so far has passed. Again, we're doing this for 60 minutes, people, 60 minutes. So, again, take advantage and call in and live. I see we have a lot of people on the line, though. So let's go to the phone line. Again, for those that's joined in, it's the Hot Tea segment of Debate Talk Radio. My special guest is Nasi Yashuvel. Again, if you want to call in, the number is 646-716-7320. Let's go to the phone line. Let's go to 910-797. You're live on air.
Yeah, can you hear me?
You're loud and clear.
Peace,
peace, brother, peace. I want to say thank you for letting me on your show ask this question. Peace, Nasi. How you doing today?
How you doing, big brother?
You got the unseen soldier here, and I got a question to ask you. And I when I saw the show was going on, I hurried up and called. I didn't know exactly what you guys had already covered before. So if I say something that you covered, please excuse me. I'm from Chicago, Illinois. And
yes, sir.
Grew up in the streets and all that and found out who I was, what I was, and decided to make a change. I've been sitting back in the background watching what has been transpiring lately with the Kemetic community and the Israelite community. And I've seen, in my opinion, some brothers jumping ship to the other side. Now, I'm about to make a statement, and trust me, brother, it's a lot of brothers in Chicago feel this way. I got brothers on my other line who's, brother. Israelites in other parts of the country, not just Chicago, down south, because that's where I'm at now, all over are starting to ask these questions of the brothers who come on YouTube or whatever. Basically, we're looking at New York Israelites as not being sincere. The stuff we see going on, the alliance they're making with people who use the Creator's name in vain, say just outright disrespectful stuff. Now, we had a discussion, and this is just me and other brothers from Georgia and brothers from Chicago. I'm in North Carolina now. We all was on a conference call, and we had a discussion. And one brother said, well, somebody needs to ask, is this theatrics? Are they doing this to push their programming or whatever? And my stance on that was, you don't play with Yah, period. You don't do that. So my question to you, brother, is what is going on in New York? You know these brothers, well, you know most of them. I'm talking about Israelites. I could care less about the Kemetic community at this time. I'm talking about these Israelite brothers in New York. And trust me, brother, what you say is going to touch a lot of ears who is not in the conscious community. We in the background, we on the outside looking in. And we need to know, because where I'm from, we don't play games like that. Brother, just help the people who aren't saying anything, who's sitting back quietly, looking at what's unfolding. Just help us understand, brother, what's happening in New York. Are these Israelites authentic? Are they true? Because they're looking wicked, brother. And I don't mean to take up too much of your time, but brother, hey, peace. I've been watching you. I learned from you. You one of the ones I respect. Hey, I like debate talk for you. Peace to Sal Showtime. Peace to Nasi. Peace to Yehuda Ben Israel of Yah Righteousness in Chicago. Peace to Judah Nazareth. Peace to all y'all brothers who I feel is real. But we need to know what's happening in New York. What's going on with these Israelites in New York? This is looking bad, brother. And this is from the heart, brother. Just help us out, because we're on the outside looking in, and just help us out, brother. Peace.
Peace. All right, this is the hot seat, right?
Yeah.
All right, definitely, brother. I don't think it's New York per se, because a lot of brothers are all from different places. It may appear that they're from New York, but they could be on the outskirts of New York. They could live on the West Coast. They can live down south. But a lot of them go to the centralized location of New York to, I guess, basically bring their information. Honestly, I say it like this. I stand on my grounds. I stand on my guns. I'm like this. When this brother, this man of the House of Consciousness, disrespected my Heavenly Father and called himself Yahweh, called himself the Most High's name in blasphemy, and said that him and Shaka and Polite are the Holy Trinity of the Hebrew Israelite community. And then he had the nerve to say that I'm going to prove I'm your God. Watch you come running back to me to make videos, right?
Right.
So when I hear this in my heart, I'm like, where you from? I'm from the streets, brother. I've been an Israelite my whole life. I was raised up a militant soldier. I was raised up a warrior, brother, and I fear the Creator. So my stance is never going to change. I think sometimes people have different tactical approaches to certain situations, and it may not be the same way as ours, right? So there's a stance that I'm making. That's why I'm on this show, and when I come on the show, I hear the Hebrew music. I feel at home. So there's a stance that I'm making that by separating myself from someone who clearly blasphemed and said that he's going to prove he's God by me coming on his show again, I will have to never come on that man's show again until he repent, and that's my stance. I don't agree with anybody going on side of the show at all. But I can't speak for some of the brothers you're talking about because you're talking generally anyway. But in truth, I'm saying that people have a different avenue to attack than maybe myself. So my stance is what I stand for. And what I say I stand for. And no, I don't agree with any of that dealing with that wicked man that manipulates our community and pimp them and then act like he's doing us a favor by giving us a couple of dollars. I'm saying that we need to stand up and make our own thing, support Maccabees TV, support these things to keep it popping. It's like when we try to do positive things, everybody's not there. So sometimes maybe somebody's attention, maybe let me cause some drama or let me get the attention here to get this thing sparking. I can't say how they plan was devised, but all I can tell you is I feel you, brother, and I'm in this war. And if you a brother that support the war for the Creator and the Almighty, then we all need to link up and we need to stand on one side and let them know that we on the side of Yah. That's whoever come against my Creator. So I can't speak on the intentions of an individual or brother, but I know some brothers had tactical movements that they were trying to utilize by briefly being on a show such as that.
I agree, brother. I agree, but this is what I'm gonna say. I'm gonna let it go. When we in Chicago, and I try to get a hold of you after this and get some contact information so you can talk to some of these brothers. You dealing with brothers who came up in gangs. I came up in a gang. You dealing with brothers who just came up in gangs. We ain't got nothing else. We see what's happening. We see, we understand we Israelites. We look at these curses in this book and we understand that to a T. We can see clearly what's going on around us. And knowing this, we looked up to y'all, man. We looked at these YouTube videos, and we saw y'all teaching, and we might not agree with, we got some messianic, some non-messianic, mostly non-messianic. But we even mess with the messianic because we saw y'all teaching this stuff. And this is real, brother. And like I said, I'm going to get in touch with you. I'm going to let you talk to some of these brothers. We saw y'all teaching. Y'all got the ears of more people than you can imagine. But when we saw this stuff jumping off, like you said, that guy saying what he said, now, most of us looked at something at the TV before this stuff. Most of us saw them. And, we talked about it. We didn't have no rights. But then when it went to the disrespectful, beyond disrespectful, I mean, this is something we don't play with. And I'm serious about this because you have, like I said, literally now, I'm not saying anything crazy. I don't want to get on the airwaves and say anything crazy. But you have literally cats who just come waking up to who they are. They still got 1 foot and 3 toes in the street. So they still got that gang mentality. And some of us trying to pull them all out of it. And they seeing this stuff talking crazy things, talking about doing crazy things, and we combating that. But while we combating that and trying to say, nah, brother, this ain't the way to do it, then we see Israelites going over there dealing with this cat. So it's sending a confusing message, trying to hold them up. Like me, myself, I'm trying to build a trucking company. I got a small trucking company. I'm trying to build it. So I'm trying to get these cats, hey, nah, don't worry about that. Let me teach you how to drive a truck down the road, this, that, whatever. And, it's causing friction, bro. What's going on in New York is reaching other communities, and it's starting to cause friction. Now you got brothers talking crazy, and I'm not going to even repeat none of the stuff they talking about they want to do because, I can tell they just mad. And, time calms down stuff, but situations like this, you don't play with Yah. And I don't think these brothers up in New York, Kemetic or Israelite, comprehend, this stuff. Because it might be theatrics to them, it might be a way to pull in views to them, but for us, we live in this because we see what these curses done to us, man. I mean, you dealing with cats out of Robert Taylor, you dealing with cats straight up, man. Touch with you, and I'm going to let you talk to some of these cats, and you're going to be surprised at how many cats pay attention to you that you don't even know. And not only you, there's other brothers too, but this whole stuff in New York, cats don't understand the repercussion, they don't understand. Every action has a reaction. And that reaction, that when you put a wave out there and it's going to hit somewhere that you might not be conscious of the people in that area or whatever's going on in that area, but there's going to be a wave. When the wave goes out, it comes back. And there's going to be a wave coming back. And we starting to lose faith in these. Listen, man, and I'm going to let it go. We was looking up to y'all, man. We was learning from y'all. Y'all had us studying. Y'all had us out of the streets trying to figure out who we was. And I give y'all credit for that. But when we see this jump off like this activates, because now we looking at it like, these cats ain't real. What's going on with this? They fake. And then that street stuff kick in. Then you got cats who may not. It's crazy, bro. But, hey, peace to y'all. Hey, thanks for letting me on Sound Showtime. I appreciate it. Nasi, you know what I'm saying? I'm going to look you up, get your information. Remember my name, Unseen Soldier. I'm going to talk to you again, brother. Hey, we with it, man. We with it. The brothers of us are still alive out the streets trying to do something for ourselves. We with it. We can link up, pool our resources, whatever. But, we just want to know that it's real brothers because, this one thing we learned coming up in the streets is loyalty. So once we put our attention to something and we give us that our energy and we see this loyalty, and the reason why I call is because, I want to get this straight before we even reach out. Because, brother, I think y'all does everything for a reason. And we was about to reach out. We started reaching out to a few brothers, and once we started reach out, this stuff happened. So we sat back and watched it.
Yeah, I apologize, brother. I apologize. You got only 60 minutes. I got to let Nasi Yashuvel answer the questions. But I got your contacts, though, so I'm going to relay them, to the brother in the inbox. But, Nasi, you there? Yeah, Nasi, you were unmuted already. I didn't mute you at all, so you unmuted at the time. Check your phone line, brother, if you, maybe it's in a different area or something like that. But, I guess we have some technical difficulties because your line is open, brother. Your line is open. Again, we're going to take some more questions from the people out there. You know that number, 646-716-7320. All right, about now we're just trying to get okay, I see you now. All right.
Can. Yes, Slocky. I want to say this, man. I live for brothers like that. And this is what it's about, man. It's about warriors and soldiers, like Unseen Soldier, being able to understand that this is a military operation, and this is not against Kemet. This is against infiltration. People are infiltrating our households as Hebrew Israelites, and they're attacking it and using it against us. This is big. So, like the brothers say, this is real. This is war. And this is that call right there is what I stand for. That's what I'm about, and that's why I stand so hard on what I stand for, because I know that the Creator wants a zealous warrior. He wants a man that's going to go in there and fearless. He doesn't care if he's going to destroy a whole entity or a whole community, as long as he's standing in the righteous side of the Creator. And that's what I'm talking about. And this ain't no light thing. This is a heavy movement. People don't know. I didn't come in the game for a name. I came in this to help unify my brothers and sisters. I came in this knowing that it wouldn't be popular. I came in this knowing that I could catch a bullet for the thing I'm trying to do. So when I see people manipulating our people and I see people recording phone calls and doing all these things, I have to stay away from that. When I see people against my Creator just slandering, and not only slandering, predicting a movement of mine, saying that I will never be loyal to my God and He will be my God by returning, I stand where I stand and I won't move off that square.
All right, people, once again, it's the Hot Seat segment on Debate Talk Radio. So far, we took the time of 39 minutes has passed, and again, it's only a 60-minute show. For the people out there, this is your time, people. Again, you know that number, 646-716-7320. For those that just joined in, the only rule that I have is no foul language. You got to keep it clean, keep it professional when you call in. Other than that, feel free to call in and call in with your questions, your comments. We have callers all across the globe. I'll talk about the UK, Japan, all over the globe. Checking out the show. If you're calling in via Skype, just press number 1 as well. We'll add you in the conversation. We got some more questions in the phone line. Actually, I see some people in the chat room with some questions. I'm going to get to your chat room questions as well, people. I got you. But let's go to the phone lines. Let's go to the next person. Let's go to 347-325. You're live in air.
Shalom, shalom. You hear me?
Yeah, loud and clear.
Yeah, shalom, shalom. Now I see this brother Quizak from Shema. Shalom, Moray, and everybody in Israel. Good. I just had a quick question, man. I want to tell a brother too that it's a lot of unity in Israel. You do have some people sowing discourse and some craziness, but I won't let that deter you. You're on the path to the truth. But I had a quick question. What's your take on the Mishnah, the Gemara, and the Talmud, and was that written by Israelites? Because I hear a lot of conflicting arguments when it comes to that, and I just listen to the rest.
All right. Well, I definitely believe in a lot of the judgments out the Mishnah. The Talmud itself is commentary based off the Mishnah. The Mishnah is the last court ruling. So I do stand by a lot of cases in the Mishnah. I don't agree with a lot of some of the judgments they made, but it's the same thing where the Creator has judges in these days and times, and sometimes they might not get it right. It isn't to see a person to be perfect in every verse or every idea or concept. It is just a ruling of that time. So the Mishnah is a good work, and it's work that you can basically study off of that, will build up your Hebrew vocabulary, make you be in depth in understanding the halakhic way of Torah. So what I mean by the halakhic way of Torah, there's certain ways of doing it that the Torah doesn't give description to. And you said, was it written by Hebrew Israelites? Well, let's think about this, right? You have a group of Khazarians that convert in 745 AD, right? Their conversion is way after the fact of the Mishnah, which the Mishnah has been established way ahead of time, and the Talmud itself started in 200 BC and ended, the Babylonian Talmud ended in 500 AD. So 200 AD to 500 AD. Even this time, you don't have a high European conversion. Not only that, there's a rabbi that used to live in Spain called Rabbi Moranis. Rabbi Moranis also went down into Africa to the Tute tribe to figure out some historical halakhic rulings because they couldn't get the answer to some of them. So them in itself, they knew that they had a connection or family down into Africa with the Tute tribe, or you may say Watusi, but the Tute tribes or the Tutsi Jews who gave the halakhic ruling and passed it to Rabbi Moranis, who was a Talmudic rabbi. So these brothers were doing their research, they understood their ties, and they understood who they were. Not only that, we have a saying by Rabbi Eleazar that Shem was black and beautiful, black and comely. So he gave a description of Ham, but he also called Shem himself black and comely. So we have to take these things in to understand that these people that wrote this Talmud and the Mishnah were Hebrew Israelites. You can choose whether to agree or disagree with the wording or the ruling from the last standing Sanhedrin, or you can choose to agree with it. But the fact of the matter is that these people were of color.
Once again, this is Debate Talk Radio. You know that number, 646-716-7320. Let me go to the chat room. I see the chat room is a little bit active right now, and we appreciate you guys in the chat room and the people sending me emails and on social media, relaying their comments and their questions out there. This question is from Big C22. What's going on? Appreciate you tuning into the show. The question is, my question to him is, will he reprimand Priest Danya Allah, Divine Prospect, and Hashar for choosing to side with Sarnetta over him? That's the question.
All right. Would I reprimand? I have no ability to reprimand any of my brothers. I'm not in the same congregation as they are. Daniel and Hashar chose a strategic move to go back on Sarnetta TV. Did I agree? No, I did not agree with it. Are they any less my brothers than they were before? No, they're not. That was their decision and their choice to make. From their stance, they didn't go on intentionally. The camera was waved in front of them, and a question about the Creator was brought to them, and Daniela said he defended it off of zealousness. But my stance is definitely, I don't agree with going on Sarnetta TV. I'm not with it by no means. I spoke with all my brothers and let them know my stance clearly, and I think some of them still hold the same stance as I do. I think that was just a choice. Like the last time Daniela was on, he went to, ISUPK's Passover. And going to ISUPK's Passover, there goes Sarnetta. Well, keep in mind, this is the same brother Sarnetta now who was talking about the Passover outside in the new video that came out and showed that our God is false and just basically bashing the Bible. So, but this is the thing with Priest Daniela, who I love, and Hashar. These are brothers that I love so much, and even Divine Prospect. Me and Divine Prospect spoke. Hopefully we came to an agreement. I told them my stance. My stance clearly is I'm not messing with the brother for that reason. I spoke with Priest Daniela. I said the same thing, and I said I stand on my cue. I stand on my square. I would not have an intimate relationship or a close relationship with brothers who stand on the side with Sarnetta or go on the camera with Sarnetta. It more so looked like Divine was more of a side because of he did the moderating, but then afterwards also he was on the couch and asked a question about Sarnetta, which he didn't respond, and I respect him for that. So, there's things that I have to talk to with my brothers. And what we do is if we have problems, we bring them behind the scenes and we talk to each other as brothers, and then we discuss what we didn't like, what bothered us, what affected us as a man, and then we move on from it. And it's the fact that we can move on. So I don't have the ability to reprimand nobody, you know what I'm saying? But all I can say is my stance stays the same. I don't and I will not rock with nobody that's going to go on the side with Sarnetta. And after that, I spoke to my brothers after seeing the last video with the Sarnetta thing, and I spoke to my brother, and hopefully we came to an agreement. So there's no reprimanding. It's just two brothers discussing. They had their own view on it, and they had their own approach. And Hashar's approach is not the same as Priest Daniela's approach. And Divine's approach is not the same either. Some people think they can, for instance, maybe get in the game and build up an audience and then bring that audience along with them. But we still have to be mindful that there are people that are watching, such as Unseen Soldier, and people like that want us to make a clear stand who's on the Lord's side. And let me say this. Hashar is one of my closest brothers. Priest Daniel is one of my closest brothers. These are brothers that I love, so just keep in mind, because I see videos being posted about them, and I make my stance like this. My stance basically is this: if you rock with me and you for me, and you are ally, you're allied military system, and we make an agreement, and my force agreed not to go over to Sarnetta, and your force agrees not to mess with Sarnetta. If any of our brothers cross the line, it is not for the allied army or allied military or militia to fire shots into our crowds or into our militia. So what do I mean by that? it is not the job of the outsiders to correct my insiders or the brothers inside here that I rock with. It is incumbent upon Israel to judge our own selves, because this is our law. We have to judge our own selves, and we cannot set rulers that are over us that don't do Torah. So by saying that, a lot of the judgments you see may come within, a lot of rebuke or a lot of things that even I had to go with some of the brothers, Hashar and Priest Daniela, may have corrected me or felt a way about an issue that I had to take I had to take in thought, and I had to see if it was worth it, to see if it was worth changing, to see if I care for my brothers enough to walk a certain path where I don't offend them. So, this thing is something that we do behind the scenes. So don't expect me to come out and start shooting at Israelites. That never was my job. My job was to unify Israel by any means necessary. So what does that mean? That means that I can never see myself going and doing video after video against a brother that is a Hebrew unless it's seriously calls for it. And some of these things are not severities. They're not that severe where I don't think that me and my brothers can work on issues and work out issues. Like even earlier with today, we have brothers that you see that come on the line, or brothers that I talk to that I may not have spoken to in a long time, but I still have to have a level of respect and have that level of respect because of what they do. So we got to respect one another. So if you're expecting something open to come from me, I don't think that this is the time, and I don't think right here you're going to hear that from me, because I love my brothers and I already spoke to them personally about how I felt in my stance.
Once again, special guest is Nasi Yashuvel, and actually, Big C22 is asking, where can he donate to you? He wants to be able to donate to you. Can you put up a link or related information where you can donate?
All right, well, email me at HebrewMore@gmail, and I'll get your information, and I'll give you, and I can maybe send you the link there. I'm not really by any computer or anything, and my phone is kind of tied up, so. HebrewMore@gmail.com, and I appreciate you, brother. We got a lot of things that we're trying to do. I also have a Nasi TV reality show coming out real soon, me and my family. So hopefully that'll be something that'll be very interesting for the people to watch, and we can all learn from each other.
All right, let's go to the next question. Let me check the time. We have 51 minutes has passed. 51 minutes has passed. It's only a 60-minute show. As far as the segment is concerned, the hot seat. So again, we're gonna go to the people out there. This is your time, people. This is your time. You know that number: 646-716-7320. Press number 1, and we'll add you in the conversation with your questions, your comments. State your piece, or ever hold your piece. Let's go to 609-513. You're live on air.
Hey, peace. Can you hear me?
Hey, I can hear you loud and clear.
Brother Old God in the black media. I'm not saying much. I'm just calling.
Old God. What's going on, Old God?
Yeah,
How you doing?
What's good, King? What's good, Nazi? Not saying much. Just calling in to lend my support to Sal Showtime's platform, Debate Talk for You. I listen to it often. Appreciate it. A lot of good dialogue that come out of this platform. Also, Brother Nasi, I just want to just say that I appreciate that brother and the stance that he made. Everybody knows about the whole going back and forth. We stand on what we stand on. We said what we said. We're going to stand on that. But that's all I wanted to say, man. We support Nasi. I support his decision. And, I look forward to seeing what this brother's going to do. Hopefully we can do some things in the future together. That's all I had to say. Peace, family.
All right, man. Appreciate that, brother. Appreciate the call, man. Go ahead, Nasi. Anything you want to say, guys?
No, definitely. Shout out to them brothers for the work that they put in defending my name. And I'm sorry, I'm a little under the weather. That's why I kind of sound like this. But I thank them brothers for defending my name, and they definitely went to war. They came up to New York and did a video and got a lot of things jump-started. So I thank them, and I appreciate them for that.
All right, we only have a few more minutes left. So once again, it's the hot seat. I see we have another call out there. Again, press number 1, and we'll add you in. Let's go to 615-973. You're live in the air. 615-973.
Hey, yo, peace. Can you hear me?
Hey,
King, how you?
Peace. Yeah, this is Lex Vortex in the black. Peace to Nasi. Peace to Sal. Showtime.
What's going on, Lex Vortex? What's up, man?
Good. I just want to say this, man, for the people, right? There's, in this day and time, man, I'm going to tell you what I see spiritually real quick. There's something called a great separation going on. And that's where people have to choose sides, right? And let me tell you something out there. I don't care what you call yourself. Whether you call yourself, a lot of people claim to be Hebrew Israelites and on the side of God. Some people claim to be Moors, whatever. But the people on the side of God, you ain't going to see them until it's time to go to war. So, you know, you ain't making it into the kingdom because you identify with whatever name you are. The people, when the Most High, the Creator, looks upon someone, he's going to look at them on the inside of them and see what they are. Don't matter what you claim you are. And I see a lot of things going on where people have, you know, it's like the wheat and the tares. You got something called a Hebrew Israelite community, but 60% of them ain't about God's business. You know what I'm saying? And they're very judgmental. So we got to be very careful when we say on what side someone's on and who's this and claiming that, because anybody who's righteous, anybody who does what they're supposed to do, I don't care what they say they are. The Creator is not a respecter of person. And a lot of this stuff going on now, like with this situation with House of Consciousness, is so-called outsiders and other brothers that's in the war. And what we're doing over here, we got these dudes that's so-called blaspheming your Creator and all that. They're talking about killing us and all of this because we're the ones standing up. So for those who claim to be something, you know, you got to do more than that. We want to see the action, like step up when it's time. It's almost like, you know, when Yeshua said, who was my brother, who was my mothers and my sisters, but those that do the will of the Father. So those that think they the seed of Jacob, you might have something to think about in the spirit, because the stuff that's jumping off now, and this is just even on a global scale, there's things taking place where people have to make choices, and it comes down to the individual, you know, so people can take on whatever titles they want and all type of stuff. But when it comes down to the get down, you know, I believe someone said, what side are you going to stand on? All through the scriptures, you know what I'm saying? And so I just want to relate that, man. If you are, you know, we got a lot of people that's just doing the religion thing. But when it's time to get their hands dirty, you know, a lot of people get real quiet while the real fight's going on. And it's funny because the people in the fight are not the people who say that they're this or they're that. Because you got all kind of people around the world right now, but there's a separation taking place. And it's bigger than just the House of Consciousness. That's just a bigger spiritual war. But lose the fear. You know what I'm saying? Stand up. Just because you don't be scared to lose your life. Don't be scared to lose a friend. Don't be scared to lose a family. Stand up for what's right, period, man. And, you know, make sure you can look yourself in the mirror. So I just want to say that, man. Peace to you, Nasi. Peace to Sal. Showtime. And y'all have a good rest of your show, man.
Appreciate you, man.
All right, man. Appreciate that, brother. Let's go to the next call. Let me check the timer real quick. We have, all right, man, 57 minutes has passed by. So it's only like, 3 minutes left? Let's go to the next caller. Let's see who's on the phone lines here. Let's go to 919-824. You're live on air.
Oh, yo, I actually must have hit it by accident. I just called in, so I have no idea how I got it. My apologies.
All right, let me take you off then. Let's take you off the switchboard. But I appreciate the call, though. You know, sometimes Blog Talk does that. Brings people in, you know. Ain't even pressed number 1 yet. All right. So far, okay, here we go. Let's go to 520-355. There you go. You're live in the air. 520-355. Can you hear me?
Shalom. Can you hear me?
Yeah, loud and clear.
Okay. It's Yehuda that.
Shalom, King.
How you doing?
All is well. Hallelujah. My brother.
I just had a question. So recently, we have on a lot of issues within our own community, so-called black community, right? So my question is, because something I've been dealing with a lot recently, is how would you say that we should be dealing with outsiders who want to adopt the culture?
Ask your question one more time, brother.
Yeah, so when we have a lot of contingency within our own community, trying to teach so-called black people and so yada, yada, yada. But then we have other people who are outside the culture, be they like Indian or Asian or, white people, whatever, that want to adopt the culture. How you guys are the, chosen people, yada, yada, and they want to adopt the culture. How would you deal with people from the outside who want to adopt the culture? Would you teach them, just not teach like metaphysical or the deeper sciences, just teach like a no high law type thing, or how would you deal with them?
Well, basically, at the end of the matter, it says it's going to be a house of God for all people, and all nations will come to Jerusalem. So when we look at these things, we have to realize that our position is to be a nation of priests, to bring all of these people under the banner of the Creator. I don't believe in integration where we are at the bottom of the totem pole or we're not in control of ourselves. If we bring someone in, they have to understand our cultural alignment, our cultural identity, what we agree on, what we stand for, our Torah and moral basis. They have to proclaim it, and they have to see that we are the devoted ones of the true and the living, and not jeopardize who we are in this movement. So they can come in there, but there's still rules that they have to go by. Remember, when we go into the Torah, we go and Leviticus 25th chapter, the 47th verse, it says, if a stranger or a sojourner with you becomes rich and your brother besides him becomes poor and sells himself to a stranger or a sojourner with you or to a member of the stranger's clan, after that he is sold, you must redeem him again. One of your brothers may you redeem. So in that law right there, it's saying like, okay, if we have our own communities and we're autonomous, that we could allow these people to sojourn amongst us, but when they rise up and they become rich and our brother becomes poor, we cannot allow our brother to be contracted under their work, like almost as a servant, just like similar to today where we have these corporations or jobs that we clock in and we do a 9-to-5 tour. We're signing contracts with them, basically giving our rights over to them to work for them. Now, in the Israelite community, that's not allowed. So there's certain rules that we would have to establish. Not only that is when it comes to putting in judicial structures, we're not allowed to let foreigners rule over us. And the prophets that prophesied amongst us have to look like unto us, like one of our brothers. So there's certain things that we have to respect in order for them people to know their place and where they stand in the house of Yisrael. So as far as teaching them and bringing them in, that's always the end goal or the end result of the scriptures. But as far as where they're at in their level, if they understand the laws and they practice the laws, there's no reason why they couldn't go deeper into some spiritual aspects to make them also become like unto who they are amongst. Appreciate you, King.
Thanks for the answer. I appreciate it. Thanks for the time on the show.
Okay, hallelujah. And so, Shah, I know the time is over, but I wanted to say one thing, and then Maria Shia had something to say. But I wanted to say that there's a lot of Hebrew Israelite communities, and as I've been amongst them, as I walk with them, there's not a lot of brothers inside of these communities or the conscious communities that's actually interacting with a lot of these people that actually do law. We have to uphold law to the utmost. And this is what we got to do as a people, as a warrior tribe, as a tribe of the Creator. There's brothers that would say something about me real quick and would never speak against the brother who is manipulating or trying to cause division in our groups. And I want to see if we stand on law, or are we just some religious group, people that spurt the words out of our mouth and don't practice it with actions. When you go into Leviticus, the 19th chapter, the 16th verse, it says, thou shalt not go up and down as a talebearer among thy people, neither shalt thou stand against the blood of thy neighbor. I am the Lord. So one of our laws is about somebody slandering your brother's name, right? or a brother's name, anybody's brother's name. We're not allowed as a group of people, not allowed to talebear against anybody, let alone to stand by the blood as our brother's blood is being shed. And here the Torah shows us that talebearing is almost equivalent to killing your brother. So when there's people that are slandering your brother, what do? Let's go to Habakkuk, the 1st chapter, the 13th verse. It said, thou art purer eyes than to behold evil. So the verse says, you got to have better eyes than this to see and watch evil, and cannot not look onto iniquity. It says your eyes ain't even supposed to be able to look upon iniquity. Why looketh thou upon that deal treacherously, and holdeth thy tongue when the wicked devoureth the man that is more righteous than he? It says, why looketh thou upon them that deal treacherously, and holdeth the tongue when the wicked devoureth the man that is more righteous than he? So I bring that because the Most High says, how can we stand by while the wicked is dealing treacherously with somebody who you know is more righteous than them? So the book speaks that as brothers and sisters, that when there's a war going on against another entity, when there's a war going on against our brothers with other communities or people that is manipulating, squandering, and looting our people, that we must stand up for what's right. Don't call me and ask me about who's the Messiah, what's the Messiah, when we don't have the basic laws down pat. Our scriptures is about protection. The word ak, if you look at the ancient Hebrew, the aleph is an aleph head, it's a bull's head. Aleph in Hebrew means a bull, right? So it means a chief bull. Then you have the cat, which is a wall. That bull stands for strength. That wall stands for fortification, a fortified wall. The word ak, brother, is a fortified wall. So if I'm getting hammered by a bunch of Goyim or Gentiles that try to dismantle the name of the Creator, then it's incumbent upon us, because those people that are attacking me, that are attacking our Creator, are going to war against Yah, is incumbent upon our brothers to stand up and do stuff. And I got to thank AOC, because AOC definitely helped with the videos and chopping them up when I'm bringing out information. And best believe we got a plethora of much more firepower coming through, but we can't stand idly by. We can't stand by it. This is defaming our culture. How do you think a Messiah is going to come amongst us when we're divided and we can't even stand for what's right, but yet we're so worried about becoming number one in a popularity contest that we forget to do the damn law? Let's say you don't deal with the Old Testament too tough, you went to the New Testament. Well, let's read what Second Peter's, the 2nd chapter, the 3rd verse. Because I want to know if you really do this book or not, or you just on the corner yapping about it, in the synagogue yapping about it, or do you really follow it? But there were false prophets also among the people, even as there shall be false teachers among you, whose privilege shall bring in demandable heresies, and even denying the Lord that bought them, and bring upon themselves swift destruction. And many shall follow their pernicious ways, by reasons of whom the way of truth shall be evil spoken of. And through covetousness shall they with feigned words make merchandise of you, whose judgment now of a long time lingereth not, and their damnation slumbereth not. So the Almighty says there's going to be people amongst you that's going to go against and bring you some foul words or prophecies that are false. He's also going to be denying the Lord. It says in the 3rd verse, it says, and through covetousness, because this man envy you, he's going to make merchandise of you, meaning he's going to exploit you. This is what the book is saying. It's saying to watch out for these people, because destruction is coming and those who follow in their paths or their ways. So if you don't believe in the Old Testament and you think the New Testament has better answers, well, here goes the answer for those who exploit the children of Yah, for those who tell you that your Lord is not the Lord and speak against the Creator. It says those who follow in his path to be destroyed. We have to realize that there's real law. It's time for us to get back into the Torah. Let's not keep on discussing about the Messiah. Did he come or is he coming a second time? Yeah, he's going to come. The Messiah will be amongst us. But he wants to know if we're doing these laws right. He wants to know if we're doing Deuteronomy 6:7 when it says you should teach your children diligently. Are we creating schools? He wants to know if we're doing Leviticus 25:47. When it talks about a stranger rising up and taking a brother off the job where he works for a stranger and create jobs in your own community. He wants to know about Deuteronomy 17:15. When you don't put a king or a ruler over you or allow a foreigner to judge over you. He wants to know about them brothers that don't go hasty out their mouth, quick to debate a Hebrew Israelite every chance they get by Psalms 25:8 where it says, be not hasty to strive, lest thou know not to do in the end thereof when thy neighbor has put thee to shame. Then it goes on and says, but if y'all debate with caution that you do not reveal anything foul about your brother. But do we follow these practices? Let's don't talk about some magical stuff happening. These Torah laws are basic practices and principles for liberation. So if we're talking about liberating the nation, I can understand why a brother would call in upset at us because we seem divided. I'm upset that it seems like we divided. I'm hurt that we looking like an embarrassment. And this is why I always stand for unity. Because if anybody can come in our community and divide us by asking us random questions about a person that's supposed to be your brother, but we answer them knowing he's causing division, then we're just as fools as those who put us in oppression, those who took us into captivity. We can never build up a nation with people that's so cowardly that they will sell their soul for a couple of $100 views. Sell their soul for a couple of $100. It's time for Israel to rise and unite. It's time for us to come together. It's time for us to go to war. You talking about going to war with the white man, and you can't even kick out those abominable individuals that's in our community, that's stealing from our community, and let alone go against an enemy such as the white man. What we struggling with is our unity. I'm looking for brothers. The Most High is looking for brothers. All of us, Shema Yisrael, Shomer HaTorah, Hebrew War Machine, we're looking for brothers that want to stand up in the name of Yah, that'll put their life on the line. I can't go to war with no brothers that want to stab their back for 200 views, want to stab their back in order to get their limelight across, or try to get a couple of $100 in their pocket. I want to go to war with men that know that Yah is Yah, and besides him there is no other. I want to go to war with brothers who will put their life on the line and say, if it's my time, Lord, take me. But we're sitting here battling, going back and forth, and allowing this evil monster to cause division between us. As he continue to make videos and not even hiding it no more, how you feel about your damn creator. It's time for us to rise up. It's time for us to unify as a nation. And that's all I came here for. I came here to unify my brothers. But I'm not alarmed that as soon as I start bombing Polite and start bombing Sinetta, that my Hebrew Israelite brothers were going to jump on the bandwagon and start attacking me. Because I knew they didn't do the law in the first place. The law check you, brother. I don't need to check you. Hallelujah.
Moray Shaya, you there? Your thoughts?
Shalom. Can I be heard?
Loud and clear.
Okay, first and foremost, giving honor and praise unto Yah, the creator and the maker of heaven and earth. I was a part of the Hebrew War Machine, for those who may know the history concerning that. And the February 8th debate that occurred, I did not attend for one reason or the other. But I was initially part of the underground crew, if you will, if you want to use that term, to actually sit there and get information and give it to X, Y, and Z brother here and there and so forth and so on. So the point in me mentioning that emphatically is to let it be noted that I met up with brothers who are quote-unquote messianic. And one of the things is that the commonality is the fact that there were people up there saying that the Exodus never happened in the first place. We may have to want to sit there and look real briefly at the mentality that says that the Exodus never occurred in the first place. One, not to always seem like, oh, he's always going into the history stuff. To date, there's been no historical reference found where the Egyptians said that they were not slave masters. Some people try to use the term war captives and so forth and so on, but the captives were eventually enslaved, so therefore they became slaves. So this is something I just wanted to point out for edification purposes. The other aspect is they are taking the opinions and thoughts of Europeans, and it's not to sound racial all the time. They are taking the words and thoughts of Europeans while they enslaved the black man in the Western Hemisphere. They, such as Champollion, such as Gerald Macy, that lived, if I remember the dating correctly, in the 1880s and the 1890s, when black men in America were getting hung in the dozens. They take the words of these Masonic orders and then try to sit there and incorporate it by saying, oh, okay, well, then there could have never been any slaves in Egypt whatsoever, while they're still enslaving the true house of Israel. And so this is something just to point out on why a concept like that would have even begun in the first place. The understanding and the teaching against the scriptures emphatically then broke down to saying, okay, well, how do we know somebody like Samson was real? But nobody has yet gone to the Greek and said, was Hercules real? It's always the Hebrews that always seem to have to sit there and defend their own position on certain things. You understand? So now, when the children of Israel wandered up in our immediate, and I say immediate within the past, I'll say maybe 4 or so years, maybe 3 years, all right, when the Hebrew War Machine, when I was first a part of it, on Shabbat night, if you will, quote-unquote Friday night, we would sit there and have biblical discussions and talks and everything of that sort. Some of the conversations in there winded up becoming debatable, but it was still an undermined reason by saying, okay, well, we still got to sit there and have an understanding that we have a commonality, and that commonality is the Torah. And that's why one of the reasons when people attempt to sit there and use the term as a litmus, as saying messianic and non-messianic, oh, okay, well, we are Old Testament based and they're New Testament based. You have never, and I've seen ISUPK in their heyday in 1993, 1994. You understand? If you're looking at their flyer, they always go to the Torah in Deuteronomy, the 28th chapter, even though they may say it as Tawara. You understand? With the understanding of Hebrew in which they speak. You cannot validate biblically as far as being an Israelite by not dealing with the so-called Old Testament and in history. So that's something I want to point out for edification purposes. So when people may say, okay, oh, those are Old Testament based, we have to then ask, is not the Old Testament the foundation and the groundwork of it all? What then is your stance then, unless you just want to pimp the Deuteronomy 28 and say, okay, well, yeah, that's us, but then we're going to sit there and still flow with, for the lack of a better word, Christianity in the Hebrew version. You understand what I'm saying? And that's something that is not good once it boils down into it at the end of the day. The New Testament, if we will, to land back, not piggyback, but to land back what my brother Nasi Yashuvel was saying. If we go to Luke chapter 21, right, concerning this particular matter, here's what we to read concerning something. This is Luke chapter 21, verse 21, right, with the time allotted. And Sal, let me know what's going on with the timing, all right, because you know how it could be when everyone says I'm long-winded. But when you see Jerusalem...
We got 14 minutes in the air. We got 14 minutes. You got that.
But when you see Jerusalem surrounded by armies, then know that it is desolate, that its desolation is near. Then let those who are in Judea flee to the mountains. Let those that are in the midst of her depart, and let not those who are in the country enter her. So basically, in that particular part right there in Luke, the 21st chapter, even within the New Testament, it is saying that when the enemy comes, flee. Where were the people going to flee to? You understand? So this is something to be noted and understood. When you go to Luke, the 24th chapter, they stated that one of the parts in there, it says, we had thought that Yeshua was the Redeemer. Because during the time, if you understand anything about the era when the New Testament in Luke chapter 1 starts with Augustus, then you read about Tiberius, you have to understand why these characters are even being mentioned in the first place. That is history right there. What was going on in the first century
AD concerning the house of Israel. How many people were hung? Because remember, Yahshua himself wasn't even hung by himself when you go to Matthew. He was hung with 2 other people. You understand? What was the reasoning behind the aspect of them wanting to sit there and hang and slay anybody that was going to be presented as a leader or a reformer for the people, similar to what's going on now? So now when you deal with the concept, taking it from that light, so now when you sit there and deal with the concept of saying that the Bible has to be put on trial, and Israelites still want to sit there and flock over to that kind of individual and so forth and so on. It says in the scriptures, a man's going is before the Most High. You understand? So wherever a man may go, that may be the path in which the Most High may send him or her. You understand? But at the same token, it also says within the scriptures, do not sit at the seat of the scornful. So if your organization has questionable sexual practices, if your organization has questionable thieving practices, if your organization has questionable theocracy or theory concepts and so forth and so on, there's something that needs to be checked as far as that is concerned. The children of Israel, as stated, I spoke about this on the brother, I forget, Rated R, I think that's the brother's name, and he has his own YouTube thing. I stated when they had the Purim event with the brothers from AOC, and when I really met most of them there over in Nicholas Bookstore in Brooklyn before, that Israel is going to come together with or without us. So when I sit there and post that online or speak about that, that means that just like the Most High, when he brought Israel out, he says, this generation will die and another one shall come. You understand? Because his word is still going to sit there and come to pass nonetheless. So our duty, as the brother Nasi was even speaking on, is do we sit up and set up something for the Yeladim, that's to say the children? Do we sit there and have something that is to pass on from that? My first Israelite teacher coming out of Kosher, may he rest in peace now, named Mordeh Yosef, as stated on Maccabees TV, he's the second generation being after Rabbi Matthews. And he would be noted for saying in the 1990s that we are X amount of so years from the 21st century. What are we leaving for the children? A lot of the children, and me being 36 years old in my current life right now, or my current life, in my life right now currently, having been raised in this for 34 years, since the age of 2 years old. The majority of the children that I knew growing up, they wound up being married to people that's not in this. Some of them wound up going back to pork or getting involved in pork, getting involved with Xmas, getting involved with Easter, getting involved with other things, not to sound haughty or belligerent or anything of that sort. And so what has happened is many cases in Israel, it was just a Shabbat aspect, unfortunately. And when I'm speaking about some of the things that our teachers try to tell us to not do, and at the same token, some of the things that wound up unfortunately happened. We met up on Shabbat, and unfortunately, the only time we were commanded by the Most High to not work. I want you to understand what we failed our people as far as the Israelites is concerned. We only met up for the majority of the time when we were commanded to do no work. That's a problem. If your only main meeting is when you don't do any work, there's nothing that's going to progress from that. You understand? The Shabbat is its own entity and it stands by itself. So this is one of the things that I respect about what's occurring now as far as getting things together, getting things done, promoting the unity aspect and so forth and so on. And one of the things is, and I don't mean to blow up nobody's name, so I won't, and that is, not to sound haughty or anything like that, real recognize real. When you real about something and you dedicate it to something, that which is not real concerning it will eventually sit there and flock off from that. It will eventually detach itself from that. So the thing is this, if we will, to the book of Proverbs, right? Proverbs chapter 11, verse 29, all right, if we will. And I want to sit there and just read a couple of Proverbs and close out in this particular aspect. 11:29 of here, and it says the following. 10:29. I apologize, brothers and sisters. Proverbs 10:29. The way of the Most High is strength for the upright, but destruction to the workers of iniquity. So, in other words, the way of the Most High is one way. So it depends, as we will go over in Leviticus 26, the if-then factor. If you keep my law, then this. If you don't keep my law, then that. Now, if Yeshua in the New Testament seems to be the Becca that some people want to unite on or divide on, and he is saying several things. One, I did not come to destroy the law. Revelation 22 is saying those who do not keep the law are counted as dogs. 1 John is saying that the laws of God are not grievous, and those who break that is a sin, because the sin is a transgression of law. Mark chapter 10 is where he rebukes somebody for saying that that person is God, saying, oh, why you call me good? There's only one good, and that's God. So these are some of the things where people then want to use the catalyst between the so-called Old Testament and the New Testament to try to sit there and divide between the people is emphatically Christianized Hebraism. And that's always going to sit there and wind up dividing the aspect as far as that's concerned. When you deal with something like the brother Nasi was talking about and the other gentleman who wanted to blaspheme the Most High, and so forth and so on, and saying, I am your God. There was somebody else who was going around proclaiming himself as Yahweh. See what happened to him? See, one of the things to sit there and let it be noted, understood, is that you don't play as the other caller. You don't play with Yah. And so, once it comes down in that particular aspect, you understand? And so I'm not trying to play prophet. I'm not trying to sit there and try to hype anybody up into becoming scared or anything of that sort. However, at the same token, if we are going to sit there and have it noted and understood that some of our parents, not to sound too personal or too sensitive, like my mother, she died knowing she was the nation of Israel. At her funeral, I prayed over her in Hebrew at the age of 24. You understand what I'm saying as far as that's concerned? Some of us have parents that died in it. Some of us have children that are born in this. So we had to sit there and explain, no, my daughter dresses like this for a particular reason. No, my children don't eat their school lunch for a particular reason. This is something that that has been going on. This is not a clique. This is not a crew that just decided to come up out of nowhere because Rabbi Ford, Rabbi Brooks, and Rabbi Matthews had a good idea. That's not what happened. You understand? So these are just some of the things I wanted to point out for edification purposes. In concluding, I want to conclude with the scriptures, and that is this here. If you go back, if you will, to the Torah itself, in Devarim or Deuteronomy chapter 30, right? Deuteronomy chapter 30, we're going to start in the first verse, and many of us know where we're going. Now it shall come to pass, when all these things have come upon you, the blessing and the curse, which I have set before you, and you shall call them to mind. In other words, bethink yourself, as the Masoretic text says. I'm reading out the King James. Among all the nations where the Most High your King drives you, and you return unto the Most High your King and obey his voice, according to all that I command you this day, you and your children, with all your heart and with all your soul, that the Most High your King will bring you back from captivity, and have compassion on you, and gather you again from among all the nations where the Most High thy King has scattered you. See, this is why we don't need to argue about the 12-tribe chart, because the Most High, if Israel returned, the Most High said he's going to gather the children of Israel together. So that's why arguing about the chart, the 12-tribe chart, all day long is kind of frivolous. It says this: if any of you are driven out to the farthest parts of under heaven, from thence will the Most High thy King gather you, and from thence will he bring you. Then the Most High your King will bring you to the land which your fathers possessed, and you shall possess it, and he will prosper you and multiply you more than your fathers. So basically, in concluding that particular part out there, we are supposed to, by keeping the law, statutes, and commandments, we are going to wind up becoming greater, not to sound haughty, greater than Abraham, Yitzchak, and Yaakov. You understand what I'm saying? And so when you go to Deuteronomy chapter 5, verse 3, it says that the Most High did not make this covenant with our fathers, but with us. So a parent wants their child to be better than him or her. That's a good parent would say, I want you to be better than me. And so therefore their children, still knowing that honor, is still due unto them. One of the things that the Beit Yisrael, the so-called philosophers in Ethiopia, speak of, recorded in his book, Lost Jews, by Louis Rappaport, is that they usually speak about, okay, we may die here, but don't forget our children, and so forth and so on. If you're not intending to do nothing in regards to your children, but you're asking Israelites over and over, oh, we want to see your woman, you're sick. Because the man and the woman together is how the children are formulated. You understand? But you rather sit there and try to bash or bang against the Israelites because we supposedly don't show our women, quote unquote. You understand? Meanwhile, we're sitting up there trying to do things and get things together for our children, feeding the homeless, having an after-school program, and so forth and so on. But you want to see our sisters with their turbans and skirts on. You're a pervert. You understand? So I just want to sit there and have those couple of things to be noted. And for clarity purposes, our sisters, to a great extent, teach the children. That is greater than teaching the whole congregation of a bunch of late 20s, mid-30s, and early 40-year-old men who, to a certain extent, already settled in their own ways. Because once we expire, like it says concerning Yitzchak, he expired and he passed, and so forth and so on. Once that happens, who then picks up the baton? Who then picks up the banner and say, this is how we're going to continue and move forward within the future? That's very important. If you don't have, as stated on Maccabees TV when I was speaking with the brother Sha'al, many people who want to attack Israelites don't understand why we get into the Hebrew about Yisrael. Yisra is a future tense word. It's not from Isis of ancient Egypt transformed to Greek language, from Orset to Isis. Yisra is the future tense word of the word Sarah, which means to contend. It's the third person, masculine, singular. We went over that in the SOS event that the priest Daniela, Hashar, and myself and Mighty Hebrew went over, for those who care to see it on Maccabees TV. But my point nonetheless is this. Israel is a futuristic concept of a people. It is a people that deals, as we state, we don't deal with mediums. We don't deal with sorcery. We don't deal with omens. We sit there and we deal with prophets. Now, we're not saying we're prophets today. We are reading prophecies from the old. But we have to know and understand, just like it says in Deuteronomy 18, it says the Most High did not suffer you to sit there and deal with diviners and witchcraft and conjuring up the dead. But a prophet was the Most High thy king, set up unto thee, and unto him you shall hearken. And that the Most High will put his words in the mouth of that prophet. So when we read the words of the prophets and that none of it came to fail, like it says in Zechariah, the prophets passed away, but the word stands forever. We have to get in line with that. That's one of the things to conclude in that particular aspect. I'm in New York, by the way. To the elder or brother, I don't know your status, so I say elder or brother, who called and asked about the situation in New York, the only 2 cents that I can add on to what the brother Nasi was saying is the fact that New York is a crazy place. And what they showing you online is not everything that's accurate. So I just want to sit there and have that to be noted. So with that, turn the mic over to the brother Sal. Shalom.
All right, man. Already shy right there, dropping that knowledge. But Nasi Yashuvel, yeah, we could go out with some last words. And yeah, that brother, brought up to New York. Now I was thinking about that Ja Rule from New York. But yeah, man, definitely. But Nasi Yashuvel, some last words, brother, we can sign off. Okay.
Peace and blessings to all my brothers and sisters. And I'd like to thank my brothers for the unity and those who stood for the unity. Shout out to all the people that's going to war and that's doing their thing for righteousness, That's what we're about and that's what we stand for. And I love all my brothers and sisters. I came into this way. I came in with an open mind. I came with a loving heart. And I came to share this my heart with the people, And that's why at times we get fired up because this Lord is a powerful king, man. And, I fear him. I fear him with all my heart and my soul. And deep down in my soul, I know that I'll die for the Creator. And I put my life on the line for the Creator. Even when you seen the interview, the prelude to the city debate, I said my life is on the line. You know what I mean? I really meant that I represent the Creator in all I do. And I would never let no folly take me away from him. You know what I'm saying? So definitely I'm going to war for his name. He done a lot for me in my life, so I'm ready to go to war for him for anything, And just all the brothers that's about unity, stand up. And those who have beef with one another, let's make amends so these people can see us squashing our differences. We came up together strong, and we're going to finish strong. We came in this unity strong, and we just want to make it stronger than ever. And I pray that all the congregations here, from Shema Israel to AOC, to Lions of Israel, to GOCC, to Shomer HaTorah, and all the congregations that build upon the Creator's mighty name, from Beni Hadad all the way to the house of Israel. I can go on FOPE, all these people that stand by the side of unity. May the Most High be with you.
All right, that was Nasi Yashuvel. Of course, we appreciate the brother for coming on and blessing us with the information out there and answering the people's questions out there. This is the hot seat, and I want to thank the callers out there that actually called in and the people that emailed their questions and the chat room. You guys definitely brought the questions live on the Debate Talk Radio. We appreciate you guys. By the way, we do have a hot seat on next Friday. People, next Friday, we have a hot seat at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. Make sure you tune in, find out who's going to be on the hot seat on Friday next week on the Debate Talk Radio. We appreciate you guys, and I'm going to see you guys tomorrow. Y'all bless.
Daily word.